So let's make a start. Morning, Sue. Let's do some head drops. Waken the neck muscles up. So you can allow your head drop to one side, then move to the middle, and elongate up through the crown of your head, and then drop. Hold for a few seconds, and then move to the middle, elongate through the crown, and drop. You might find a bit of stiffness and tightness, a bit of lack of movement to begin with. Roll the head around to the front, just noticing what's going on around the back of the neck, and then reversing in the opposite direction. Just reminding ourselves that movement itself is medicine. By moving our joints on a regular basis, that helps to release all the right chemicals to help our aches and our pains. And if we can do one more each way. And then rolling the shoulders up to the ears, press the blades back and down. Coming up to your ears, pressing back and down. And again, up to your ears and down. And can you do this and rise up onto your tiptoes? And then drop back into your heels. Rising into your tiptoes and then dropping back into the heels. And as we keep going with that movement, we tune into our breath. Inhaling as we come up, exhaling as we drop back. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Bringing your attention into your body. And taking the feet just a little bit wider, softening the knees. So we're in a Tai Chi horse stance, letting the tailbone drop, placing the hands here just below the belly button. Just centering your attention around that point for a moment. Imagine you're sort of sending energy to that point in your belly through your hands. We're going to take a deep breath in with our hands and then breathe out. I want you to bend your knees and soften. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, lowering. Imagine you're drawing energy up from the ground through your body and sending energy down. Inhaling and lifting. Exhaling and lowering. And do that one more time. And then transferring our body weight over to one side and just testing our balance. Picking this foot up and then placing it down. Just pausing for a moment here and then placing it down. Breathing in, breathing out. Now we're going to do that twice more. It's like a puppet with a string attached to the finger into the knee. Final one, we're going to hold it here. Extend the arms and reach through the toes and then rebend the knee. Pointing the toes as we reach and then bend. Elongating your posture up through the crown of your head, extending into your fingers. And just do that one more time. And release. And let's do that on the other side. So bending through the leg, bending, reaching through the toes. 2 more. Final one. And taking the feet wide, and we're going to side lead, keeping the underneath arm and then opening out. You just squeeze your pelvic floor muscles as you lean and then let them relax. Do it again. Squeeze the pelvic floor a bit like you're holding one in, and then soften those muscles down below. Let's do that again. Squeeze. Breathe. Inhale as you relax your pelvic floor. Exhale as you squeeze and lean. One more each side. And final one. And let's take our feet a little bit wider now. So we've got our toes turned out. We're going to bend into the knee and push the bottom back a little bit. Let's give that a go on the other side. Just really elongating that straight leg, pushing the bottom back until we feel a good stretch around the inner thigh and the groin. Let's do that the other way. Bend into the knee. And we're going to come down for 3, 2, 1. And then lift. And again, down for 3, 2, 1. And then lift. Now, as you do it, notice, is your shoulder rounding forward, or are you sort of sticking out your chest? Try to stick your chest out as you do it. Notice the difference in the stretch if you do that little opening strategy in the upper body. Let's do one more each way, coming all the way down now. And final one. And then releasing and bringing the feet back together. Okay, so let's come down to our backs. Focus on some back mobility, and then we'll tune into our core strength. Breathe in and breathe out. Are you looking for online classes that support you with getting more me time? You want to get supple, strong, feel less stressed, get in the driving seat, but actually perhaps you've noticed that following videos on YouTube isn't actually helping you commit. It's not like the teacher reaches out and says, correct your hips, bring your knee back, move your posture back. And this is the problem. So, of course, you can hit subscribe to get more from the Zigs YouTube channel. But let's face it, we're not going to send our children to a school without a teacher or a tutor. I mean, what's their life going to be like if they're going to learn in that way? So my name's Claire Louise Freeman. I'm the business owner of Zigs Exercise, and I like to encourage you to join me and my community online, where we get together via Zoom and we practice Pilates conditioning, yoga stretches, mobility. And the thing is, we get to actually talk through this stuff. We get to do it together. And to me, consistently doing it together is the thing that gives us much, much better results than if we're left flailing around in front of a video trying to do it all by ourselves. So if you'd like more information about joining me and others, please reach out, get in touch. You can work with us morning, evening, from the comfort of your own home. It's great because you get all the kit together at home, and it does help you to practice in between as well. So I'm offering a complimentary kickstart call. We can talk through what's getting you talk through this stuff. We get to do it together. And to me, consistently doing it together is the thing that gives us much, much better results than if we're left flailing around in front of a video trying to do it all by ourselves. So if you'd like more information about joining me and others, please reach out, get in touch. You can work with us morning, evening, from the comfort of your own home. It's great because you get all the kit together at home, and it does help you to practice in between as well. So I'm offering a complimentary kickstart call. We can talk through what's getting in the way, you know, why it's not worked so far. And sometimes the hardest bit is actually just picking up the phone and talking it through. So brave pants on. I work with all sorts of people from various walks of life, different shapes and sizes. And often people who do work with me do it because they say that I do it in a very non-judgmental way. Of course, it's free to talk, so you can click the link in the description box below and we can get to know each other and see if we're a good fit. There's no pressure here. On the call, I'll listen in to, you know, what you need support with, what your personal needs are, and I can answer any of your questions about our online Pilates and yoga where we do it together in community. Why wait? This stuff doesn't get any easier as we get older. We work with lots of busy parents, grandparents, business owners, NHS professionals, private school teachers, regular school teachers. So if that feels like you and you need that support and accountability on getting it done, that's the thing. If we've got the sessions booked in regularly, that means we're much more likely to show up. And it's that regularity that people are often missing. You know, they take time off during holidays. It's the commitment that gets the motivation. So why wait? Book in, give me a call, and I'll see you on the other. So if you can tuck your knees and then tap, tuck, and then tap. Breathe out as you tuck, in as you tap. Try to get a little bit of lift in your bottom as you do it for our first level. Or for our second level, we're going to roll and balance. And sit up to the sit bones, lengthen up through the crown of the head. Now for more advanced version today, we're going to give the rocker a go, for those of you who want to. It is quite a bit more advanced, so it's quite fun on a Friday, the weekend after all. Then we go wide, roll, and then see if we can balance at the top. And then again, legs akimbo and roll. And back in. Can we do 2 more? The mind is willing. And last one. Okay, well done. Let's move over onto our front. And if we take the hands just slightly wider than the shoulder, we're going to press the blades down as we squeeze the buttocks and move to our cobra. And then lower. And again, breathe in as we come up. Chin up. Exhale as we come down. Arching back. Now, if you've got a happy, strong back, you might go a little bit higher and move your hands further back. If you've got a bit of a niggling back and it's a bit sore, then maybe keep your hands a bit further forwards and keeping to that sort of lower level. Let's do 3 more, holding at the top now for 3, 2, 1, and then coming down. So 2 more, pushing up and holding for 3, 2, 1, and then coming down. And your final one, just focusing on that feeling of stretch. Feels good to me. And from there, if we can make a plank forearm fist like this. So have a look at me. If you come up with your hips, keeping your chest open, and then a little hover with a single leg. That's it. Holding, pointing the toes, and then if we can give that a go on the other side. Now you can either keep it to this version where you start from the knees, or if you want to notch it up and really work on your strength and stamina a bit more, then we hover from the toes, changing sides. And we'll just do that a couple more times. Breathe. Alrighty, and then from here, if we can meet up in our downward dog, give our calves and ankles a little mobilized. So pressing the heel down and flexing into our toes, and then switching to the other side. Lifted through the tailbone. I'd like to close your eyes and just get into the feeling of breath in the belly. Using this time as your breathing space. couple. And final one. And then it's up to you how you get there. I'm going to go for a little bunny hop through. And then down onto our backs. And we're going to focus on some Pilates core conditioning. We'll take the opposite arm and leg away. Pilates single leg stretch. We can go for level 2 start position here with the knees at 90 degrees. Start position number 3, we'll extend the leg. We've got a straight leg, pointing the toes, flexing our feet, and then pointing. Reach through the toes. And last couple. Final one. And then from there, can you bring your hands on top of your knees and circle your knees out round and back in. Round and back in. And as you do it, let your back tuck a bit and then arch a bit. Tuck and then arch. Massaging your lower back against the ground. Reversing. Gradually taking the knees a little wider to open those muscles, getting good blood flow around our joints. On a regular basis to keep that mobility. Last one. Okay, so from here we're going to place our feet down. Now it's up to you on the shoulder bridge. You can either grab a cushion and pop that between your knees, or if you're doing more advanced, you might use a foam roller. So find some kit if you need some. So if you're using the cushion, if you pop that between your knees, if you're doing more advanced version and using the foam roller, then you pop that under your feet. Of course, you can use both. We're going to tilt the pelvis under, and as you do that, I want you to squeeze your pelvic floor muscles. Push your hips up. And then roll bone by bone down. As you get to the bottom, relax the pelvic floor. So again, squeeze the pelvic floor and lift. Pausing at the top for a second or two, and then imprinting down at the bottom, relaxing the pelvic floor so that you're consciously easing it on the way up, pausing at the top, and then imprinting down bone by bone. And it's good practice to do a little bit of pelvic floor work every day. Same way you brush your teeth. Now we're going to hold at the top on this one and then take the arms up over the top of the head and do it with your hips lifted. So you can see yourself in your screen. Does it look like you've got a diagonal from your knee to your chest, or are we dipping a bit in the middle? Let's come back down. You find you've got a bit of a dip in the middle. Try to do what I call the ump technique. So you just sort of ump at the top, lift your bottom, squeeze it, and then rolling down bone by bone. Now, sometimes when those muscles are weak, what we'll subconsciously do is sort of step the feet closer in towards us. But in a way, that does make it quite a bit easier, which means we're not challenging the muscles. So notice your foot position on this. Where do you place them? Is it closer to, further away? What feels harder? Sometimes challenging ourselves to do what feels a little bit more difficult will help our strength longer term. We do 2 more. 3. And final one. Ideally, if we're trying to build up our strength, we want to be practicing progressive program, ideally about 3 times a week. Let's release off. And we're going to take a stretch. So if we can bring our right leg up like this and park our hands just here around the back of the car, pointing the toes, stretching out the bottom leg. For our next level, really reaching into the toes as we do that stretch. And then for next level, notice I'm bringing my, got the head mic caught, try that again. We're going to bring our nose and our knee together like that. Okay, let's release off and give that a go on the other side. So our first level, we're holding onto our calf, pointing the toes. Second level, straightening the bottom leg. And then our third level, bringing our nose and our knee towards each other to have a good old stretch for our hamstrings there. Okay, so bending the knee and then coming up. Now's a good time to grab some water. Hope you've had some already this morning, but if you've not, use this time to top up a bit. Now, we're going to use some weights for our lunges today. So if you'd like to help yourself to some weights, we're going to have a nice big stride through our feet and we're going to tiptoe on our back foot like that. Got quite a decent space between the feet and aiming for an upright posture. So you're lifted in your rib cage and then bending into the front knee, coming down, 2, 3, and then straightening out through the front leg. So for first level, we're going to lift the weight to the shoulder as we hold the lunge like this, and then bring the weight back down. For our next level, we're going to go from here and push up overhead, so like a shoulder press. And then come back in and release. Try to keep your tailbone tucked under, especially as you go overhead, so that you're in good alignment for your back. And we do 2 more, pressing the shoulders down as we add the lift. Release, final one, bending into the front knee, extending the arms, hold, breathe, and release. Okay, so let's turn our feet around to face the other way. We're going to tiptoe on our back foot, thinking about our alignment in our spine, dropping down, keeping our tailbone tucked, breathing in as we straighten the front leg, breathing out as we come down. So level 1, just lifting to the shoulder and then releasing. Level 2, adding some overhead today. So we reach, come down, breathe. And we do 2 more. Relax your shoulders. And final one. Alrighty. Shake a leg. And we're going to use the wall to give our pecs a stretch now. So if you can find a little bit of wall space, we're going to twizzle the fingers backwards, stride 1 foot forwards, and then on your back foot, have a look at it, because often that back heel will turn in. Get that back foot parallel to your front one, And then turn your chest with your arms straight as you look behind. Breathe. And let's release. And do that again, just walking the fingers slightly further back, with the fingertips pointing backwards. That's it. So fingers pointing back. So palm against the wall. And let your head turn. And go a little bit higher now with the hand. So palm against the wall, fingers turn back. And breathe deeply. Bending into the front knee. And let's release. Okay, good job. So let's give that a go on the other side. So fingers turn backwards, striding the inside leg forwards, bending into the knee and softening the shoulder. That's tricky, Jean. You can maybe do it over a sofa like this. Or you can do it against a wall like that. And let's release. And do it again. You probably want to be on the corner of a wall more. And we're going to turn the head and have a little check in again on that back heel. Is it turned in? And I'm going to take the hand just a little bit higher, bending into the front knee. And as you look at that back foot, is your back foot parallel? If not, push that back heel away. Deep breath. Alrighty, let's release. And we're going to move down sideways. This time you'll need a stick. So help yourselves to a stick. We're going to move into doing some oysters. Now, if you want to, you can add some ankle weights onto your legs. You want some weights, Mel? No, that's fine. Okay. So once you've worked through the basics on these, adding some weight in, will give you a little bit of extra load around the glutes and the hips. Are useful for maintaining and strengthening our bone density if we're doing it several times a week. To an interesting networking meeting on Tuesday with Randox Health. You probably recognise the name from the pandemic. We were doing lots of COVID tests, but they've opened a new clinic in John Lewis in Cheltenham. I was learning about their preventative health testing. Very thorough, actually. Okay, let's do a little bit of lift in the waistline. We're going to point the toes and hover the top knee as we roll the knee back. 1, 2, 3, and then flex the feet as we hover. Point the toes and then open the knee. Now, often when people first start these, they'll drop the top knee all the way back down, but I want you to keep it so almost like you could slide a thin piece of paper between the legs as you come back down. And the other thing that tends to happen is this top hip sort of wanders backwards. So keep your eye on that. Notice, is it rolling? Can you keep the hips stacked one above the other without it rolling? For our next level, we're going to come up onto our bottom elbow. We're lifting through the waist and the hip as we open the knee and then come back down. Making a fist on this bottom hand, squeezing the fist. We do 2 more. And final one. let's release. Okay, good job. Can we give that a go on the other side? We want our head, shoulders, tailbone on the stick. So if we use that to monitor posture again, bring the knees in front, that little bit of lift in the waistline. So pulling the knees forwards and the feet, notice the forwards as well. That's it. And then pointing the toes, pressing the knee back, and then we've got that hover again, so as if we could slide a thin piece of paper between the legs. Pressing the knee back, flex our feet, point the toes. Now, what's going on with your top hip? Can you keep that top hip steady? Breathe. If you're doing that next level, we come up onto the bottom elbow, making sure that elbow sits directly underneath the shoulder. Lifting the hip off the floor and then bringing the hip back down. That's it. So lifting the hip up. So we open the knee with the toes together and then coming back down. Breathe. Press your shoulders down. Last couple. And final one. Alrighty, resting off. So from here, we're going to move over to all fours. Now you can leave your weights on if you're using them. And we're going to park our stick just here. We're going to test ourselves. Should have gone for a side ponytail today. So we use the stick to monitor what's going on in our core stability as we extend a leg. And we lift the leg without the stick giving us too much stick. And then bring the leg back in. Sliding the leg back and lifting, holding for a few seconds at the top. 2, 3, and then down. And again, sliding and lifting. Now, if we've got that, we might add the opposite arm forward just to test our core stability further. Pressing our shoulders down as we reach the arm up by the ear. And then lowering. Inhaling and reaching. Exhaling and lowering. We do 4 more. Yep, so alternating the legs. Last one on each side. Is it hot in here or is it my hormones? Last one. Okay, and then from there we're going to meet in our downward dog. So with the downward dog this time, we're going to press both of our heels down. Breathing deeply. Relaxing our shoulders. Pressing the heels. Pressing them out, pressing them down, breathing into the belly. Moving into some more side core conditioning. So some Pilates side kicks next. So if we can pop the stick here, like this behind. And we've got a little bit of lift in the waistline as we do it. Bring the feet forwards. Try to keep that lift in the waistline as you hover your top leg and then lower. Pointing your toes as you hover your leg and then lower. Now if you can keep the waist off the floor when that top leg is raised, Can you keep the waist off the floor with the bottom leg raised? And squeeze your heels and then come back down. We're going to point the toes on the lift. Squeeze and hold. Flex the feet and come down. Now, often the back can go into overarch. So using the stick behind us can really help us monitor and tune in to what's going on in the alignment in the lower back. Breathe. Lifted in the waistline. Now, is that top hip wandering? As we bring the leg up, what happens in the top hip? Does it roll back? Try and get your top hip tilting forward just a little bit, almost a feeling like you're going to teeter forward and face plant. Obviously, that's not what we want, but that sort of feeling of teetering on a bit of an edge. Your life's a bit more exciting on the edge, but the idea is that when we're in that teetered position, we're testing our core stability a bit more rather than avoiding it. Sort of welcome the wobble or the teeter, if you like. Okay, let's give that a go on the other side. So head, shoulders, tailbone against the stick. Notice my feet are slightly at the front edge of the mat, whereas my upper body is at the back. Lifting the waistline, pointing the toes as we hover. Now, can you keep the waistline hover? Because sometimes it's not quite the same one side as it is the other. I know where I had my serious back accident years ago, I do have to work harder at times on that side where the injury was. And how are the hips? Is that top hip wandering back? And we keep our hips forward. So again, we're aiming for that sort of teeter position with the hip at the top slightly forward. And our head nestle down into the arm. Just we're using that bottom arm like a little pillow. And we do 2 more. Lifted in the waist as we hover the legs, flexing the feet and pointing the toes. Alrighty, let's rest off. If you're using weights, if you pop them off, now's a good time to have a drink. So let's keep ourselves topped up. Glass number 3 so far for me this morning. Alrighty. We're gonna move into some yoga stretching. So if you can join me standing now, that, oh, the sun is shining in Cheltenham. Happy days. So feet wide, and if you can turn your toes out over here, and then on this side, angle in at 45 degrees. On that first foot, we want the foot parallel with the edges of the mat as we slide the hand down the shin. And try and bring this arm over so that it stacks directly above the other arm. Sometimes when the shoulders are tight, it'll tend to stay over here. If you can just bring that arm over, but soften your shoulders down away from your ears. Deep breath. Breathing into the side of your body. Let's bring the head back a little bit. How does that influence the stretch? Bring this arm over towards the ear now. Not in front of the head, but back by the ear. We keep bringing that arm down now to the floor as we bend the knee and wriggle the back foot further back. So we're sort of tiptoes on that back foot, and then turning, so we're reaching the other arm up, pushing the ground away with the hand that's on the floor, pressing the shoulders down. So almost a little bit of force into the ground with that bottom hand, stamina building. applying force can help our bone density. That little bit of push helps to load the bone. Push and impact helps our bones, as long as our nutrition is good. Let's move to the center. And we're going to wriggle the feet a little bit wider apart. That's up to you how wide you go. Do what's safe, but perhaps a little of a challenge. Walk the hands in towards the middle of the feet and drop the head down. Breathing deeply. And then walking our feet back in a little and turning the other foot out so it's now parallel with the edges of the mat. Angling our back foot in at 45. Can we stack the arms again? Softening our shoulders down, reaching the fingers. Allow your head to drop. Bring the head back. Noticing how that's feeling around the neck. Breathing into the side and the back of the body. Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Bring this arm over by the ear. And then we'll keep going, bringing that hand to the floor. So we wriggle the toes back, turning and stacking the arms one above the other. Deep breath. From there, can you bring your feet together, have a sit on your mat. And we're going to do some curls. So nearly there. Stay with me. Now it's up to you what kit you use. If you're level 1 on these, parking the strap under your feet to help yourself get down and back up. Or you can do it hands-free like this. Tapping down with the head and back up. Try to keep your chest muscles open. It's tempting to really round the shoulders forwards, but press the blades down and keep the collarbones open. Having the eye gaze come up to the ceiling as you roll can really help your neck and your head position. Exhaling, lifting. Inhaling, lowering. Now, if you're in a good place with these and you want to up level, then adding a weight, arms by the ears, touching the weight down as the head touches down, and then bringing the weight here in front when we're in the seated position. Inhale on the drop, exhaling on the lift. And we do 4 more. Last couple, nearly there. And final one. Okay, well done. So if you can just angle your camera so that I can see you come down onto your back, point your toes, and if you can interlock your fingers like this, and then turn your palms out over the top, little finger edge down, arching your back. Breathing deeply. Closing your eyes. Breathe and let your belly fill with air. Exhaling out through your mouth. As you breathe in, you're gathering energy. Exhaling out any tension and worries. Breathing deeply. Perhaps repeating a little phrase or word of how you'd really love to feel throughout your day. From here, we're going to bend our right leg in over our left. So if you can move now into a glute stretch where you've got your hands just here around the back of the thigh and use the elbow to push out a little bit. Breathing deeply. There's cats on the prowl. Let's interlace our fingers around the front of the shin. Go around the front of the shin. We want one hand on the outside of the left leg, and one hand through the middle. Or your own version is fine. We got there, Sue. Okay, so let's get back on the other side. So left over right, hands around the back of the right thigh. Using your hands to pull in, using your elbow to push out. How much effort are you putting into that stretch? Can we nudge the effort up a little bit? Breathe. Interlocking around the front of the shin. And again, just noticing where we're at with the effort level on that. You can pop your legs down, placing one hand on your belly and one hand on your breastbone. Feeling for the breath under the bottom hand. To inhale, hold your breath, and then do a long exhale. Again, let your belly fill. Pause and hold. And a long exhale. Just do that one more time. Pause. And breathe out. Allow yourself just to relax down more deeply. Crossing both hands onto your breastbone there. Hand over the other. Sending some positive, healthy energy to your heart. Feeling for the subtle beat of the heart. Taking a moment to be thankful for that beat. Beating away in the background, whether we're waking or sleeping. I want you to cup your hands now and place them over your eyes. So you take your eyes more into darkness. You cup your hands over your eyes. Noticing your eyes closed, what do you actually see there? Patterns, shapes. How does that change as you take your hands away from your eyes? I want you to now open your eyes and notice what's in the periphery of your vision. Over to our side. And when you're ready, if you could come up. I'm going to move into a kneeling position. Under your knees if needed. If you can mark a hand just here on the top of your head, and then notice I've turned the chin towards the armpit, and if you can slide the back of your head and just apply a little bit of pressure, so you're sort of pulling down, breathing into the belly, neck muscles are stretched. Release. Switch that over to the other side, so turn in towards the armpit. Again, applying a little bit of pressure with the hand, tucking the chin into the armpit, breathing deeply, breathing into the belly. And release, and placing both hands here at the back of the head, relaxing the shoulder. Drawing the chin down, pressing the chin to the chest, and again, just applying a little bit of pressure, breathing into your belly. So we've stretched, we've mobilized, we've strengthened, we've breathed. I hope you've had a good session today. If you'd like to hit your unmute, we'll have a little chat and a check-in.